If you are a retiree living in the United Kingdom right now and you have been buying honey from your local supermarket, thinking you are doing something good for your health, then I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because what I am about to share with you could genuinely change the way you spend your money on food from this point forward. And honestly, if you are someone living on a pension and watching every single penny, this matters even more to you than it does to anyone else. Before we go any further, if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss another video like this one. We put out content every single week that helps people just like you make smarter decisions about life in the United Kingdom, especially when it comes to protecting your money and your well-being during retirement. Now let me get straight to the point. Honey is one of the oldest and most trusted foods on the planet. It has been around for thousands and thousands of years, produced naturally by bees who visit millions of flowers just to fill a single jar. When you walk into a supermarket and pick up a jar of honey with a lovely picture of a bee and a honeycomb on the front, you naturally assume that what is inside is pure, honest, real honey. You trust it because why would you not trust it? The label says honey, the jar looks wholesome, the branding feels warm and familiar. But here is the truth that very few people talk about openly, and it is a truth that could be costing you money and your health at the same time. A growing body of independent research and food industry analysis is now revealing that a significant amount of the honey sitting on supermarket shelves across the United Kingdom is not what it claims to be. Some of it has been heated to such extreme temperatures that all the beneficial enzymes and natural compounds have been completely destroyed. Some of it has been ultra-filtered to remove every trace of pollen. And once the pollen is gone, there is absolutely no way to trace where that honey actually came from or whether it has been mixed with cheap sugar syrups along the way. And some of it, quite frankly, is so far removed from what bees actually produce that calling it honey at all feels like a stretch. Now I know what you might be thinking. Surely the big brands would not do this. Surely there are regulations. And yes, there are regulations, but the honey industry has become incredibly complex with global supply chains that make it very difficult to police. So today, I am going to walk you through 8 honey brands sold right here in the United Kingdom that independent analysis and consumer research suggest are not giving you the quality product you think you are paying for. And please do stay until the very end of this video, because I am also going to tell you about 2 brands that are actually doing things properly, 2 brands that deserve your hard-earned money and your trust, especially if you are living on a fixed income and want to make sure every pound you spend is going towards something real and genuine. Let us begin with the one that is probably sitting in millions of kitchen cupboards across the country right now, Tesco Everyday Value Clear Honey. Now, look, I completely understand that budgets are tight. If you are living on a state pension or a modest retirement income, you know better than anyone what it feels like to stand in a supermarket aisle and reach for the cheapest option because you simply have to. Nobody is judging anyone for that. But here is what concerns me about this particular product. It is cheap, and I mean suspiciously cheap. When you turn the jar around and read the small print, you will often find the words blend of EU and non-EU honeys. That little phrase might seem harmless, but it is actually telling you something very important. It is telling you that this honey has been sourced from wherever on earth it was cheapest to buy, shipped to a processing facility, heated to extremely high temperatures, ultra-filtered to strip out all the pollen, and quite possibly blended with rice syrup or other sugar additives that are molecularly similar enough to honey to pass basic quality tests. Real honey contains pollen. That pollen is like a fingerprint. It tells you where the honey came from and proves it is genuine. When you remove the pollen, you remove the proof. And the only logical reason to do that is because you do not want anyone tracing where it came from or discovering what else might have been added to it. For someone on a tight budget, you might think you are getting a bargain, but what you are actually getting is the end result of a system that squeezes beekeepers, rewards the worst practices in the food industry, and delivers a product that barely resembles real honey at all. Moving on, and this is where it gets even more frustrating, Asda Clear Honey suffers from exactly the same problems, but somehow manages to be even more vague about where its honey actually comes from. The label simply says produce of more than one country. That is it. That could mean the honey inside your jar has been sourced from 5 different countries, blended together in an industrial facility, and processed until it all looks and tastes exactly the same every single time you buy it. And that consistency is actually another warning sign, because real honey varies naturally. Different flowers, different seasons, different regions all produce honey with slightly different colours, textures and flavours. When every jar looks identical, that uniformity is not a sign of quality, it is a sign of heavy industrial processing designed to create a standardised product regardless of what the original ingredients actually were. Asda is owned by a massive corporation with more than enough resources to source quality, traceable honey if they wanted to. The fact that they choose not to tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. Now, this next one is going to surprise a lot of people, and it might even upset some of you because it involves a brand that has been a household name in British kitchens for decades. Roo's Squeezy Honey with that familiar bear-shaped bottle is absolutely everywhere, from the biggest supermarkets down to your local corner shop. Surely Rouse can be trusted. Well, here is the issue. That convenient squeezy bottle requires the honey inside to remain permanently liquid, so it flows out easily every time you squeeze it. But real honey does not stay liquid forever. Real honey naturally crystallizes over time. It thickens, it changes texture, and that is completely normal and actually a sign of quality. To keep their honey permanently runny and squeezable, Rouse heats it to very high temperatures, and that heating process destroys most of the natural enzymes, the beneficial compounds, and the delicate flavours that make honey worthwhile in the first place. What you end up with is essentially a sugar syrup that started life as honey but has been processed so heavily that very little of the original goodness remains. And once again, the label reveals that familiar phrase, blend of EU and non-EU honeys, which means there is no traceability and no way for you to know what you are truly putting on your toast each morning. Then there is Gail's Honey with its beautiful vintage-style branding that makes it look like a premium heritage product. Everything about the packaging suggests tradition, craft, and care. But when you actually read the label, it is the same story all over again. Blend of EU and non-EU honeys. You are paying a higher price for lovely packaging and a sense of nostalgia. But inside the jar is the same anonymous, ultra-processed blend you would find in the budget range. There is absolutely nothing traditional about sourcing mystery honey from unknown countries and heating it until all its character is gone. Your grandparents knew their beekeeper by name. Gail's is the complete opposite of that kind of honest local food tradition, no matter what their label design tries to suggest. And speaking of misleading names, Little Over Apiaries is particularly crafty in how it presents itself. The word apiaries literally means bee yards. The name makes you picture a small dedicated beekeeper lovingly tending their hives somewhere in the English countryside. But check the label and you will find, yet again, blend of EU and non-EU honeys. This is not coming from some charming apiary in a village called Littleover. It is the same bulk, imported, industrially processed product, dressed up with a name designed to make you feel like you are buying something local and authentic, when you are doing nothing of the sort. This kind of deliberate misdirection is one of the most infuriating things about the modern honey industry. Whole Earth Clear Honey is another one that really stings because Whole Earth has built its entire brand identity around being natural, ethical, and health conscious. They sell peanut butter and cereals and all sorts of products marketed with that wholesome, earthy image. People specifically choose Whole Earth because they trust the brand to be better, to care more, and to source more responsibly. But their clear honey tells a different story. The label says produced in the EU from EU and non-EU honey, which is the same vague sourcing as every other brand we have talked about. You are paying a premium price because you trust the Whole Earth name, but when it comes to their honey, there is no evidence they are doing anything differently from the cheapest supermarket-owned brand. That is arguably the worst kind of greenwashing, charging you more money based on brand values that simply are not being applied to this product. Streamline Pure New Zealand Honey trades entirely on the prestigious reputation of New Zealand as a source of high-quality honey. The branding, the packaging, everything about it screams premium imported product, and they charge you 3 or 4 times what you would pay for a standard jar. But this is not Manuka honey. It is often basic clover honey that happens to come from New Zealand. By the time it has been shipped halfway around the world and processed for the UK market, whatever advantages the original product might have had have largely been lost. If you are going to pay premium prices for New Zealand honey, you should be buying genuine Manuka with a proper UMF rating from a verified producer, not paying extra simply because the label mentions New Zealand. And finally, the worst offender of them all. Langnese honey is a German brand that has been turning up more and more frequently in UK discount stores and pound shops. The labels are covered in images of bees and flowers and sunshine, creating a picture of pure natural honey from happy bees buzzing around wildflower meadows. But reports and investigations suggest this honey is sourced from all over the world, blended in industrial facilities, ultra-filtered, and heated extensively. Tests on similar products have found evidence of added syrups, excessive processing, and virtually no pollen content whatsoever. Even more damning, Langnese has been caught up in honey fraud investigations on multiple occasions, with shipments seized and tests revealing adulteration. The fact that this product is being sold in discount stores where people on the tightest budgets, many of them pensioners, are trying to buy something natural and healthy for themselves makes it all the more troubling. But I promised you some good news, and I always keep my promises on this channel. There are still brands doing things the right way. Hilltop Honey is a British family-run company that has been operating since the 1920s, and they actually tell you where their honey comes from. Their labels specify British honey from British beekeepers. Not a vague blend from unknown countries, but actual traceable honey from actual British hives. Yes, it costs more, and of course it does, because British beekeepers operate under higher welfare standards and higher costs, but you are paying for quality, traceability, and the knowledge that you are supporting an industry that is barely surviving in this country. You can taste the difference too. Real British honey has character. It varies with the seasons and the flowers the bees visited. Hilltop even produces a rare harvest range of single-origin British honeys from specific flowers like borage and heather and wildflower, and these are becoming increasingly precious as British beekeeping declines. The other brand worth your money is Rowe's Organic British Honey, and yes, I know I criticised Rowe's earlier, but their organic British range is a completely different product. It has to meet strict standards, it has to come from British hives, the bees have to forage in pesticide-free areas, and the honey has to be minimally processed. It is proof that Rowe's knows how to make quality honey when they choose to, which makes their standard squeezy range even more disappointing. Here is what it all comes down to, and this matters especially if you are a retiree watching your pennies. Real honey is expensive because it should be expensive. Bees visit millions of flowers to produce a single jar. Beekeepers invest enormous time and effort into maintaining healthy hives. When honey is suspiciously cheap, someone or something in that supply chain has been exploited, whether it is the bees, the beekeepers, or you, the consumer. You do not have to change everything overnight, but next time you're in the supermarket, take a moment to turn the jar around and read the label. Look for specific origins. Look for the word British. Avoid anything that says blend of EU and non-EU honeys. Choose something real and traceable, even if it means buying a slightly smaller jar. Your health and your money are both worth protecting, and you deserve to know exactly what you are eating. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend or family member who might benefit from knowing this, and make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you do not miss the next one. We are here every week with honest, straightforward content designed to help you navigate life in the United Kingdom with confidence and clarity. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.